Alright, welcome to our weekly update on the global property market, where we discuss waves, impulsive waves and corrective waves around the world. It looks that rents are the lagging indicator. Rent prices tend to peak later than the corresponding house prices, which is shown in the price versus rent chart for the USA by Trading Economics website. Whether it's the peak of the 1993 or 2011, there is about 3 to 5 years lag between the peaks in house prices and rents. On a smaller scale, the difference between waves is about 2 to 3 months. The question is, what causes such discrepancy in timing? Is it because at the end of the bigger wave, the house prices accelerate much higher in comparison to rents, and it takes longer for rents to catch up? It's plausible. It means that as we are approaching the final wave of the final fifth wave, we should expect another 3 to 5 year lag. How much the inflation is going to rise up over the next 2 years in order to deliver such spectacular hikes in prices, as per my video series called Next 2 Years, House Prices Around the World. Over the next 6 months, we should expect another injection of liquidity into the system that will corrupt the circulation in the organism even further. That will set fireworks under all assets, as the credit is going to become cheap again. This will create another buying frenzy, fueling consumption and speculation. It should finish off all housing market cycles around the world, including our own severely overinflated Australian market. They all go hand in hand, as if all central banks were working in unison, providing credit in a similar fashion, so the corresponding currencies don't show any outstanding sign of strength or weakness. Based on my analysis of the US market, the length of the initial wave 1 and 2 of the current wave 5 indicate the entire wave may stretch until the end of 2025. It means we have about 2 more years of house price increases. And if previous spikes are to be repeated, we should see rents going higher past that date, by about 3 years, as it happened in the past. In Australia, the discrepancies between the peaks are similar, and they tend to extend as we are advancing in a cycle. That is, Wave 1 has a shorter gap between house prices and rent peaks comparing to Wave 5. For example, the suburb of Ashgrove, 4060, peaked in September 2018. Meanwhile, its rents peaked in November 2019. On the other hand, down the cycle, the third wave in prices spiked in 2022, but the rents are still waiting for the end of that very wave. So the gap is growing. It also means that Ashgrove may need hit $1,000 mark a week in order to finish off this wave, and joining other unaffordable inner city suburbs around the country. If you find that current rental market is pushing renters to their knees, watch what happens in the next 2 years, when there will be a wave of new renters who just lost their houses as a result of sudden spike in interest rates. That's also expected, as the only tool central banks use to curb inflation is hiking interest rates. As per my analysis, US bond yields are going to drop early next year, which translates into lower interest rates. That in turn will cause enormous inflation mentioned above. Subsequently, central banks are going to lift interest rates again, pushing all mortgages to stress levels never seen before. The flood of insolvencies is going to send many houses to the market, pushing prices down, forcing their owners to seek rental accommodation. On the other hand, investors are going to be forced to sell, also reducing the stock of available houses for rent. That would potentially push rent prices higher for another 3 years. Usually, this time is associated with recessions, so it will be a double whammy for a consumer. Notice that recessions hit while rents keep creeping up. Expect some difficult times ahead. You have about 2 years to prepare. There is no good answers here. If you buy the house now, you're going to get caught in the pain of making enormous repayments to the bank. If you are renting, make sure your tenancy is secured for years, as it's going to be very hard to find a place to rent. especially when our governments are fixated on bringing more people from overseas. It should be a wake-up call to anyone who still believes in the system run by the government and central banks. We are being taken for a ride as tax cattle. On that note, I'm going to leave you, dear viewer. If you want to find the updated analysis of my charts, you can find me on X, link below. Also, like this video and subscribe to the channel to spread the word about the trends. Meanwhile, stay calm and count waves.